we're not going to be here long. That's just the history of the seal. It's the seal. It's the seal. Coropolis. They don't remember Coropolis. So we're going to learn some Latin on you. All these Moors. 1670. We had cities in the Carolinas in 1670. They don't tell you that. Condito. That means founded. 1670. Civitas Regrimi do Norte. The keepers of the knowledge. Man, so 1670 was... I just did the math on this a couple of days ago. I can't remember. But what if today is 1670? What is 1670? Why is that so important? That's the year that Carolina got its constitution. All these Moors, so that's the Virgin Mary welcome you into her son's city. It's that simple. That's what that seal is right there. That's the Virgin Mary welcoming you into her son's city through her vassals. Her ports of entry. How well do you love your nation? Got to know your nation in order to love your nation. That's the same thing with a human. You got to know a human in order to love a human. If you know it, if I sat up here and told you all that I went through, then it'd be love. But I preserved that for my rich. Poetry only makes sense, I'm convinced. Since I'm born on the same day as Vince. Now it's my birthright to issue this charter. Charter. Niggas turning against each other. Meanwhile, we turning Charlotte into the capital. They ain't no Coropolis. Into the capital. They ain't no. Dang. That Charlotte was in Charleston. Charlotte was in Charlotte. That's Charlita. Man, I still can't believe I lost my Uncle Stan. Man. So that's the seal there. That's the virgin. That's why she carrying the wheat. That's the reef. That's the tarif. And see, also in 1670, this was a treaty. And you got to understand that back then, the way that our people moved, because we were royal, they established treaties through marriages. So you got to study the marriages. And when you look at the coast, you're going to see that the tribes along those seaboards were the first ones to have contacts with the English. So those initial reactions was through marriages. Our people went to England, got married at Westminster Abbey, came back, you know what I'm saying? Brought the Englishmen with the Normans. You feel me? Guaranteed them land. This is what happens in treaties. A will is a damn treaty. So that's how the marriages were. It wasn't about, oh, I love you. No, it's like, okay, we're going to leverage this love. Watch Queen Charlotte on Netflix. I keep telling people that I have to reiterate that my daughter was born before that came out. She was born like literally. She was born, and then it came out like she was born in October, and that joint came out like January the next year. Had no idea it was coming, but I did watch The Crown when she was baking. I forgot where I was going. 1670. Oh, okay. All right, bet. Correct. Dang. 1670. Casa Q. So just like they had Jira Q, they got his name was Casa Q, and he's the Kia Kiwa, or the Kia Kiwa. I say Kia Kiwa because that's how my tongue says it, but it's Kiwa. It's the Kiwa tribes. They on the island. You know, they got a beach. You feel me? So the initial reaction between the English, which was us, we come from the House of Bourbon. It's a science behind this all. Like, we are the original occupants of England. All right. So when we came over here, it was peace. It was, it was a mastermind, if you will. So when they came over here, they came in contact with Casa Q. They have been trying to establish when you got to look at the etymology of colony. And when you look up the etymology of a colony, it's just going to say a group from another nation occupying in another territory. So in this case, it's the English. Do you understand that this Egypt was a colony of Ethiopians? The Ethiopians established a colony along the banks of the Nile. And then they built civilization. And then the same thing, the Egyptians went to Greece and established colonies. So we the original people to establish colonies. It's always been in our blood, our DNA and shit. So when the English came here, the only thing that was different from when the Ethiopians established a colony in Egypt was that don't want nobody else occupying that space because they were the first inhabitants. But now the English, which was us, when they came back to their mama land, now they come in contact with their mama people. That's the real people. I have a Black's Law. Yes, Black's Law is a very great. Which edition do you have? Black's Law is like, in fact, we're looking to raise, we're doing a book drive to raise Black Law, to raise, we want to get Black's Law dictionaries in our libraries. So that's an initiative that I'm starting because they don't have them. We want to, really everybody should have a Black's Law in their home. So it's good that you have one. But you look, see if you got, the 6, I got 6. And I hope you're doing well. Peace to you, your family, your household, your tribe. I pray healing over all of the nation, really. But you're included. Your family is a part of that. 1 second. Damn. That damn Daryl. What? I can't see nothing without my glasses. And I don't got my glasses on right now. back. So yeah, Black's Law. Yeah, that's real. Real. I say, full-time dad here, I get it. That's what we do. But, yeah. 1670. Coropolis. So again, like, it's a book. I got a book. I'm gonna go get it. It's called The American Indians, North Carolina. No, it's not called the American Indians in North Carolina. It's called the North American Indians. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I got it printed out in a binder. This is a good book to, hold on. My fault. I had to wake my son up in the middle of the night so he could use the potty. So I was in the process of doing that. But yeah, this is called the North American Indians. And it's going to tell you about how, like, the initial reaction and interaction between the English and the American tribes was really friendly. Because, like, we are a welcoming people. Like I remember when I went to Newark and I sat with my line brother's grandma, and she was telling me about, like, when she grew up in Newark. She said when she grew up in Newark that, she grew up in the projects, and when she was, back then in the projects, you could have your door wide open. And your neighbor coming over, like it's normal, like it's they crib. They walking through like how the projects in Winston, you can go in through the front, like specifically Southgate. Like in Southgate, you can walk in through the front and go through the back. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And so like even then, like even Southgate, back in the day, everybody was outside. You know what I'm saying? Like in the evening time, you outside, the aunties, they sitting on the porch with they fold out chairs, but now it's like people, like you go to Happy Hill, you go knock on the door. If you go knock on the door to door in Happy Hill, them people, they coming strapped. They don't know who you are, and you can look just like them. So things have changed, and that all has to do with this here, right? So when the first interaction between the our people from the overseas here was like, it was a culture shock. You know what I mean? Because at the same time, like the slave trade was going on. We didn't know none of that. It's all foreign to us. However, it did say, I'm not going to say it was foreign to us, because they said that in fact, they said that a lot of the colonists learned slavery from the American Indians. They took that system, they took that system and borrowed it from the American Indians. Silver's as of 10/28 of yesterday now, silver's at 38.19. Yeah. So These are the Lord. This is really a rubric on how to govern a royal family. In the Carolinas, you picking up off where you left off. So even with the fundamental constitution, it wasn't really like ratified for real, because again, it was a lot of stuff going on during that time period. So we really blessed now for real, because we're not, I mean, it is a war going on. For sure it's a war going on. And they're taking out the, the young, like with the young generation has to understand is that when they are taking each other out, right? Like this whole movement. First of all, war is not about guns and ammo. It's not about that at all. But what they're doing is they're making human sacrifices by turning us against each other because of the population growth. We produce the most babies, so we the biggest threat. So it's the crab in the barrel mentality. You keep them within walls. You keep them cold in the winter. Just think about Chicago. You feel what I'm saying? New York. These are high crime rates because people get angry. You know what I'm saying? So, you stack them on top. I'm like, slavery. Y'all think slavery ended? It just started. It just started. When they started, the projects was originally for the foreigners that came over here. So again, when the English had these encounters here, they did it through marriages. And in these marital agreements, they said, well, we're going to bring the subjects from the bride. And when I say subjects, I mean, there were people who, these were people who had like, okay, for example, my family is Crits. I'm gonna put this on here. Let me see. I come from the Crits. So how you see those seals, that's a family seal. But there were subjects of the family who weren't a part of the family, but were like, they had to claim some lord in order to be established, like how people do now with the Social Security cards, right? This was like the families. So this is Crits. And you can look it up. This can be studied. This is, you know what I'm saying? So these families, when they came in America, they may not have been of the Crits blood, but they were subjects of the Crits family. So they used a title. And again, like I said, we come from the nobilities in Europe and stuff. It's just right now we've been so distracted is the only word I could say from who we were like. And I'm not talking about like a 50-year distraction. I'm talking about 500, 600, 700 years of distractions of the real, right? So, yeah, this is the proprietorship, the proprietor. So what I specialize in, what I'm doing, what I do on a daily basis is restore the proprietorship by restoring my proprietorship, right? So, I'm a proprietor by birthright. And I set an example on how you see those crowns, So when you pull in, like, it's awkward when you've been in a dungeon You could come from a royal family, but you've been in a dungeon. Your family's been in a dungeon for eons. So when you come out, you talking about you royal and this, that, and the third. It's like, boy, sit down and fall in line. You know what I mean? Especially in the South. However, when you royal and you just scientifically, like on a scientifical, like my great aunt, my grandma, her sister, she donated her body to the University of Dayton when she died, so that it could be studied on a scientifical level. So scientifically, we are royal blood. We are the royal ones, and all these people know that they all know exactly who we are, but we have to know it, and it's universal. Like, and that's why I say I speak for nationhood, because it's not racism. Nationality is just what you are. It's you from Carolina. If you're from Carolina, you are Carolinian. That's my son. Like, they can learn that in kindergarten. If somebody's born in France, they're French. But if they're born in France, but then they move to another jurisdiction or another country, and they have a child, what does that make the child? Well, now you have an adjunct, which is a dash, like the Winston-Salem dash. So if they born in Germany, but they mama from France, that means they're German Franc. It's common sense. That's common sense. That's common sense. So now my target audience is Carolinians, period. That's my target audience. That's who I write to. That's who I represent in my books. You feel what I'm saying? That's who I work on behalf of. That's who I consult for. That's who I establish trust with. That's where I come from. That's where my lineages come from. You know what I mean? That's real. That's real talk. No, exactly. We're here to serve a higher power, but that higher power is not in the form of a man or a woman, for that matter. You feel what I'm saying? It's a higher power. It's something that's more, like, you cannot put it into English words. You can't put it into words, period. It's just what you hear for. And we knew, all of us before we came to Earth accepted the fact that we was going to Earth before we went. Right? So we can't complain that we here, because we were here for a mission. We were given a mission, and we had to accept the mission. That's why in the Bible it say all are called, but few are chosen. You feel what I'm saying? We the chosen few that chose to come to Earth. So now we're destined to do abundant things. Like, even if you live a basic life, you can live everybody is important. Whenever you talk, whenever you open your mouth, whenever you breathe, you're giving oxygen to the universe. You feel me? So everybody is important. Everybody matters. But it's about what you do with your life. And so there have been a lot of human errors. There's been a lot of human errors. So these generations that we're raising, the generations that we come from, right? We were sent here to correct these errors. The errors already occurred, and now there's the aftermath of the errors. Hence how era and era are, what do they call that? hyperbole. What do they call it? Era. I'm a poet. Like, this a new era correcting the old eras. Damn. This a new era correcting the old eras. So we the suppressed errors writing writs of errors. Oh my God. Yeah. And they couldn't compare us. So the real name is San Quentin. Cause I'm the original Frank. Yeah. Late Norman. Cause I'm a son of William. Man, that's crazy. That's all. That's just all. When you don't show up to court, a bitch warrant is then issued. A warrant against rebellion. And man and creature mixed for, I don't know. I'm just reading what de facto color of law. These are my notes. The harder they fall, regression. I don't know. But yeah, power's in the pen. The power is in the pen. Oh, you know what? I know what this is from. These is from the notes from, give me 1 second. I know this from the DVD. Man, see, I survived without Wi-Fi. So, remember those days, there's no Wi-Fi? Sister Bahara El Hari Bey. Those are my notes from her class. More. See, these are DVDs. So, man, I'm telling you, like, it's no excuse for. See, this, I sound like a foreigner to the average person because we were not brought up in schools of knowledge, right? And they don't have them. They don't exist. You have to build them. And so that's why I'm building for my kids, because this is going to be normal talk. One time we was at me and my business associates, we was looking at doing Airbnbs. This was like Airbnb in apartments in Winston. Like, we was just innovative, just trying to find different ways to bring in income, right? So we actually lived it. So we would go to these property managements and ask them, do they do corporate leases? And then we got tours from a corporate standpoint. Like, we the corporate, not individual leases with corporate. So we getting tours and we just talking, like, we talking normal for us. We talking normal. But they was like, y'all sound like investors. And I'm like, well, damn, if you put it that way, I guess so, huh? You feel me? Because it has to be norm. It's like when you smoke and you around smoke, you don't smell it. It's like when you funky. When you funky, you don't know you funky. Because you living in your funk. And it's the same thing with knowledge. You feel me? So we living in this knowledge. There's got to be normal. It's the shift. We correcting the errors. That's legitimately what's happening right now. And, like, there's no reason for people to be upset. You got to have patience. You got to have self-control. You have to have confidence, knowing that Allah has willed it, right? That's why we say, mashallah. And it's weird because a lot of people are looking at me like I'm a Muslim because I say mashallah. Like, it's crazy. Like, oh, I thought you was a Christian. Well, that's why they don't pay you for thinking. Because you got to do research. Tell them they got to read the alarm clock. The clock on the first page say, I'm not religious by any means. But then people who don't read will come out and say, oh, is he a Muslim? Is he a this, is he a that? But they haven't brought my books. You have. Inshallah. You know what I mean? And so, I'm not hard to figure out. You just read the alarm clock. I'm the same person from the alarm clock. That's real as my constitution. The alarm clock is my constitution. It's for my life, you know. That's why, like I was talking about it earlier, how when you lose a mother, the Creator, the Almighty, substitutes wisdom in. Especially when you lose a mother at an early age. So, like, I'm sitting here thinking about Malaysia. Like, she lost her mom a year ago. And she's going to have so much wisdom because wisdom is the source of the mother. You feel what I'm saying? Like, the breast, if wisdom was a tangible source, right, it would be your mother's breast milk. Your mother's breast milk is wisdom. Cling on to wisdom. You feel what I'm saying? You need wisdom like how you needed your mother's breast milk when you was a baby. How we all did. We all humans. There's a lot of people that is amongst us that look like human that ain't human. You got to beware. You got to have discernment because they are amongst us. It's not a game. It's not a game. That's why I'm like, the only race is the human race. That's the only race. So we sitting here trying to figure out racism. We're going to be trying to figure that out for a whole nother eon of years because it's not a real thing. It don't exist. And somebody would play that and cut that and be like, I experience. No, you making it up in your mind. The only race is the human race. That's it. Everything else is genocide and acts of genocide. If you go into a court of law arguing racism, you're going to lose every time because that's elementary. And courts are on a, what do they call it? Triple advanced level. That is not, law is elementary. However, you can't go in there without, it's like you going against Kobe. Without practicing, without putting in no work, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a layup. That's an easy conversation. That's a cop-out. How about a thesis? Well, how about a thesis without using the term black or white or racism? Explain what happened to you without using black or white or racism as a crutch. That's law, and that's what's respected in law. You got to be able to put in that work and be studied, well studied, and cite your sources. And cross your T's and dot your I and cross-reference. That's it. That's the law of the land right there. So yeah, man, like, that's the shift is happening. It's not we talking about it. We talking about it after it's done. So the fact that we talking about it means that it's already done. It's already written. You know. And so a lot of a lot of young kings, they, and empresses. The thing is, the only reason a king is fit to be a king is because his mama gave him the crown. That's it. That's the only reason. It ain't no. David got his crown from his mama, not Saul. He got the crown. Same thing with Moses. Moses got the crown from his mom. His mama said, Moses, I'm about to make you the king right now when I send you down this river. I trust you. I trust you going to lead the nation. I trust you going to lead the Canaanites. I trust you going to lead the Cushites. Moses was the king of Cush. And when he was 3 years old, he took the crown off of King Kikianus and put it on his head when he was 3. Because he's a mama boy. And so, yeah, that's the wisdom. The wisdom is the river. She sent, again, that was the replacement. That like when a mother is taken away from you, it's the rivers of wisdom that is the replacement. That's why, like, when I first lost my mom, when I first lost my mother, everybody was like, why are you so calm? Why are you so, why are you not? It's because wisdom had instant, as quick as life left my mom's vessel, is the same speed that wisdom came into my life. It's at the same speed. So as quick as that transfer happened is the same way that wisdom came. That's God, like, that's how almighty God is. Boom. Like, just imagine if God didn't give me wisdom. You feel, if God didn't give me wisdom, I'd probably be dead. I would have died with my mom. And there's people that do that. Because sometimes when wisdom, it takes wisdom to receive wisdom. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you have to be wise in order to understand that this is wisdom that's coming. That's discernment. And a lot of people do not understand that. They like, nah, man, I'm not deserving of it. Because wisdom is like, is I don't know. Like, you can have all the money in the world and not have wisdom. You can have all the money in the world and still not have wisdom. You can have all the riches. Look at Diddy. Respectfully, I'm just saying, like, that man's wealthy. But look at where he's at. You could be on top of the world. But wisdom, man. And so I got that. I got what wealthy people don't get. Like, the wealthiest, you name them. I got wisdom. It's not riches. You know what I mean? Dang. I mean, I wrote this in the bio of the poetic like David. If it's nonsense, save it. This temple of man is mosaic. Only the real made it. Speak life is what your Lord saith. Living out these words, all rights reserves. Spoken of Solomon in Proverbs. I turn herbs into verbs in Book of Rhymes. And the alarm clocks into AC units. Bismillah for the earth. This house came with chairs. Christ rode in on a donkey. But he was prepared to deliver the living word sent from the Elohim in us. Because he from the 51st hymn. They was never like them. That's why I ain't like him. Still we prevail like the Lion of Judah. I always remember you, the one of wands. Ab initio, you already won, son. Said we turned the alarm clock in the ACs, you get it? That's the AC. Bismillah for the That's a play on words. Bismillah for the heirs. That's for like air. I wrote this in one set, and then that was my caption. You think I got it off poetry.com? Chat GPT and the P for poetry. Man, oh man. Man, Q. I'm really just trying to find this. I was talking about Moses and the river. Moses and the river. Poetic like David. Damn. That's so crazy. Bruh. That shit crazy. That shit is absolutely crazy. Arabic. Regine, I don't know if you got this one. Let's say Don. This was talking about Don. Dang. This is in the macro distribution jump. I don't want to have to like exit out to get it, but it talk about Don was like Moses. And wisdom. He had wisdom and Don. Man, yeah. This is a textbook. It's a book on transportation. It's wisdom. You won't understand the flow of distribution if you don't have wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom is it's the wisdom. Where's the wise don't? That's my mama. Damn, that's her rich. That's my mama rich. The subdued heirs. Damn, my mama, man, I'm telling you. Only your mama can make you a king. The Most High. Only your mama. That's why, again, I give all homage to Darrell. You know, I really do. Because she's the one that really understood all of this. And I'm just kind of like living and flowing in her footsteps, you know, from where she started and just continuing. And it's not even where she started. It come from a long line. It's what she was continuing. It's like the last of the Mohicans. And I just don't think it's fair that, like, I don't think it's fair that when people die that their ambition and what they started gotta die too. I don't believe in that. I believe that it takes somebody real to continue the legacy of somebody that was real. And to make that and to pass that down, like, that's why my daughter name is Darrell. That's a fact. That's why my daughter name is Darrell. You know what I'm saying? And that's just facts. And we have to have more people that's dedicated to doing that type of shit. Right? And you just, you know, just speaking on them and speaking on their names, you know, and speaking on their works, their foundation, what they started. That's the real work here, man. That's what it's all about. So, you know, see, this is what that's talking about. And so, of course, these Europeans, they gonna paint it. They gonna paint themselves like that now, but this is what they look like. Them original Englishmen look like. That's how they look. That's how they look. And it was love. Like Like the Slades, they're from in Hyde County. The Slades in Hyde County, they married into the English. Really the Aboriginals of Hyde County married into the Slades family of England, 1655. And you see, Slade is just one branch of what my my bloodline. It's just one little small branch, but that's it. They come from England. The slaves do. But they got tied. The bloodline came into the Americas and they messed with the tobacco tribes. You feel what I'm saying? These tobacco tribes. I'm gonna show you. What is that? Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, that's my Aunt Tusi up there. She know all about it. She come from it. Her mama come from it. Oh, that's what, that's them gold leaf tobaccos that was started by the Slades. The Slade is the Slades. And so the reason why the English had names is just for recognition purposes. You feel what I'm saying? They just resources. Names are just resources. Points of emphasis and shit. So that's why, like, when you look in these seals, you'll see a lot of the tobacco, like on the Slades farms and things like that. You see the gold tobacco leaf because that's what they known for. So the history of being the seal, which is what originally I've been wanting to do a live on it, Coropolis, for a minute, because it's bigger than where it say Civitas Regime Donata. That means that it was given and chartered in 1783. That's what that said. Founded 1670, chartered 1783. All right, I think what else happened? Was that the same year that the Constitution? Wow. Look up when the Constitution was established. I think it was 1783. If the Constitution for the United States was established 1783. Constitution for Carolina was established in 1670. All that in the seal. So do y'all know where Coropolis is? Telling you, that's the Virgin Mary. Welcome you into her Sun City. Really, she welcomed her daughter first. Her daughter was Charlotte. That's where Queen Charlotte come from. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I said Charlotte is really man, y'all don't understand. Charles is Charlotte. That's Sarah. That's literally tribe. Charles come from Sarah. That's it. That's what Cherokee, Charlotte, Charles, Carl, Coropolis. It's right there. So she got the flag, she got the bread, that's the wheat, that's the land, that's the wealth of the land. That's our flag to identify what land we talking about. Let's be clear. It's the Carolinas. That's why you got Carl. That's the city. That's the Carolingian city. That's what they're saying in Latin. And these Moors, that's the principles that we stand on, that these Moors stand on. We stand on the law, because ain't nothing more superior than the law. They be like white supremacy, but they not supreme to the law. Come on, bro. Think about it. Free Palestine. I promise you, ain't nobody supreme to the law. Think about it. No, like, you can't trip. That's like when I tell people that's encountering, like, crooked police and stuff, let them do their free will. Whatever it is, they're going to have to pay for it later. Even if it's after they leave this planet, you're going to have to pay. Man, that's a good book. I'll just read a little bit of the preface to you. This is the North American Indians. So it says, in attempting to lay before the public a sketch of the history of the Red Indians of North America with a view to excite a generally sympathy in behalf of an oppressed and suffering people, I am aware of great... So does that not sound like black people? So when did the American Indians start calling themselves black? I'm aware of the great importance of these. Are they the same people? Or is it a different type of people? Are we saying that black people are not indigenous people? Is the indigenous people, are the black people not the American Indians? Who are the indigenous people? Yeah. I am aware of the great importance of my undertaking and sensibly feel an inability to stand forward as an advocate in any degree equal to the task that I have thus imposed on myself. So this goes back to purpose. With few exceptions, the American Indians would have been abandoned by the Christian world as a cruel, bloodthirsty, treacherous race, incapable of civilization, and therefore unworthy of that attention which the inhabitants of other barbarous climes have received from the zeal and devotion of many learned and pious members of society. Thousands have raised their voices against the wrongs of our black brethren of Africa. From one end of Europe to the other, the humane have been aroused to a sense of their injurious and now actively engaged persecution of every measure calculated to alleviate their sufferings, while but a few have stimulated the similar exertions in behalf of the Red American Indians, from whose native soil the wealth of a great portion of civilized world can be derived. The African is submissive. His patience, endurance of labor renders his servile and debased state important to us. He is therefore preserved. The North American Indian, on the contrary, prefers banishment and even death to slavery, but his lands are servable to us. Therefore, his extinction seems to be desired. One submits to the yoke, we oppress and pity him. The other one disdains and becomes the servant of man. Listen, we just talking about this. Well, that's crazy, right? The servant of man, and his whole race is devoted to gradual exterminations. For such he must be the inevitable consequence. The inevitable consequence of all those measures which blah 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 blah, 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 which have been and still are in operation against him. Though their infliction is marked by different shades of guilt, in a few ages, perhaps a few years, the sons of Edom will be so far removed to reach an eye of any but those engaged in the work of destruction, that no trace will be left to posterity of the wrongs which, we're not just talking about errors, of the wrongs which have been perpetrated upon the Aborigines of the great American continent. I could keep going, but I'm going to read one more paragraph in this preface. I confess that I had no other idea of an American Indian than what he was most furious of human beings. Whenever he became named in his scalpel knife, mohawk, war whoop, and thirst of blood were at once associated in my mind, and hence I was led to concur in the almost universal opinion that he was totally incapable of being rendered servants of the art of a civilized life. In the course of my travels through the United States and Upper Canada, I met with several Indians whose external richness induced me to make inquiries to their present condition, although many persons whom I have addressed myself appeared to be perfectly indifferent on the subject, and spoke of them in the most degrading terms. I was led to seek for further information respecting their character, in pursuit of which I have been engaged for 3 years. This is a good book here. So that's the preface. That's a portion of the preface. It got like 2 or 3 more pages. And guess what? Guess what the date is? The 1st of May, 1821. Dang. 1821, Chanel. So that's 224 years ago. It's in the library. Build up your libraries. Build them libraries up. Have rare books in there. Have books that's important now, that may not seem important now, but you know it's going to be important in the future. Because like they said, it's going to slip away. And there's going to be no trace left to posterity. Posterity. So write, you have to write. We have to write. You feel what I'm saying? And you got to preserve your writs. You know what I'm saying? Because your voice matters. Our voice matters. Like how he said he was looking for us to have conversations with us, right? To speak of us in our higher light, right? Respecting our character, not degrading it. Inshallah. I know you do. We have to keep building these libraries up. You can take your books, right? And this is just like free game. You take those books, you record them, you put them in a library. You start your library. You make your library a trust foundation. You have a library for your trust foundation. You feel me? Because that's even whenever you have a trust, it has to be funded by something tangible. Books are tangible. You feel me? So they can be measured. They can be scaled. Therefore, it holds value. So you put all those books in those libraries, and they have intrinsic value based off of the words and the time. This 1821. So, yeah, you make a collection, Daryl Q. Slade collection. You know what I mean? We got more books. The Daryl Q. Slade brand is coming out with more literary works, right? Catalogs, things of that sort. So be on the lookout And just know, like, the research, is the research. The science of actually proving that, being on the first hand, showing you that this shit worked. I won't write it if it ain't work. I ain't gonna write it if I ain't did it. That lets you know it's sourced in truth. Righteousness. It's not no foo-foo. It's that real. It's the real. So, yeah. And we setting examples for other authors. Gotta travel. You gotta do like this guy did. Talk to the people. Talk to the real people. Sit with them. Live with them. Live amongst them. Work with them like Santiago did. He took pit stops in his journey to dwell with the people, right? Of the Barbary Coast, right? The alchemist. Okay, so it's 8:13, 1:12 EST, right? In the morning. So I'm about to close out on this one. Do I got some more poetry? Do I have more poetry? That's a really good question. Cause I like that. I'm gonna do that one. Damn. That's when you do your own poetry. That's authentic. Like, you know what I mean? I could play music, but my voice is music. And I do these lives for people who ride in a car. My lives are for long car rides. Damn, do I get some more poetry? Fuck. I don't have none in front of me. I tell you what, I'm going to write this on the spot and then I'm going to perform it. Because that's just how authentic I am. In fact, I'm going to write it here on this because I don't waste paper. So I don't like to waste paper. So these not printed front to back. So I'm going to write on it. Buchanan is the author. Buchanan. James Buchanan. Is that James Buchanan Duke? Printed for, look at that. Black, young, and young. All right. Oxford Library. I'm about to, okay, bet. I'm finna write. All right, I'm about to do it on the spot. These words cold. Unless they pay. This story ain't been told. But I ain't. Next time I come on live, you have to hop on the live, and also I gotta we just started a Discord. I'm on Discord now, so I'm probably gonna transition off of IG and get on Discord, learn about it and stuff. You know what I mean? Shout out to the righteous lords and shit. So, man, All right, this is literally I wrote all of this just, and y'all seen it, okay. So I'm performing like I have to, like, poetry is healing for me. Like, I do. Originally I started doing poetry as a mental health therapy. So I said, so that's what this is. Like, I had to close this out with poetry. So I couldn't find none, so I had to create it. You know what I mean? Take notes. These words cold, gray. I said, take notes. These words cold. So grab a coat. Granny house can't be sold unless they pay in gold. This story ain't been told. I went broke, but I ain't fold. I went broke, but I ain't fold. When they came and got me, I stood bold, chin up, because I descend from 10 cup. Dang, that's all I got. That's just, take notes. These words cold. Grab a coat. Granny house can't be sold unless they pay in gold. This story ain't been told. I went to the bottom, but I ain't fold. When they came and got me, I stood bold, chin up, because I descend from 10 cup. Right. Yeah. So I'm tired. So I'm retiring this live. So this is the real Ibn the real. My email is therealqslade@gmail. If you want to book a consultation with me, I specialize in trust. I specialize in business development. I specialize in a whole lot of estate planning. I specialize in truck transportation management. If you're looking to get into the transportation industry, I specialize in that. Books, we have book consultations. If you want to publish a book, that's what we do. If you want to get a book published, we also do that. We print books for people. We resize books, configure the books to be printed, build books, all of that good stuff. Email therealqslade if you want to just talk therapy. I am not a therapist, but I will consult with you on how to practice healing, because I have experience in that, and I still am healing, right? So, yeah. But the main things is the trust. If you want to book with me. My time is money. So, but I value money different, right? Money don't rule my life. I rule money's life. I rule the money in my life. Inshallah. Yeah. You got to put the books out. You know what I'm saying? For real, you got to put the books out. You got to, because they're going to live past you. Your words is going to be a beacon in time, and it's going to be very important. Like, that was 1821. So just imagine if you put a book out, in 2031, and then somebody pick it up in 2331. You feel what I'm saying? So that's it. And you're gonna be speaking to this time, because they're gonna study this time, this era. I'm telling you, we have to know where we are in this transitional phase in the age of Aquarius. So you gotta understand there's a lag. Like, we are in the age of Aquarius, but there's a lag because of the age of Pisces was the age of illusions. So now people clinged on to these illusions in the past from the age of Pisces, and the lights came on with the alarm clock. That's why I was sent to, it's way bigger than me. If you think that it was on my will that I put the alarm clock, that was God. That was God's will. right? In perfect time. Because that was the age of Aquarius. It was the alarm going off saying that this is the age of Aquarius, which is the age of wisdom, which is the age of knowledge, the age of information. So when that came out, a lot of people were scheming because of people's lack of awareness of what was really going on. So people was making a lot of money off of deception. They were making tons of money off of deception. So now that this awakening happened, it may not be nothing for you, but for somebody's pocket is hurting by you becoming aware. And so that's where the war comes in at. They have psychological wars. Feel what I'm saying? Having niggas second guess themselves. You know what I mean? Second guess they royalty. Feel me? So that's what's going on. But the royalty comes from the knowledge of knowing thyself. That's the most important thing that you can do. Can't nobody define you when you know thyself. Inshallah.